note pin, my Shirat Hayam Kippah. I think that's all I have. But it's a very special, Shabbos, especially for Chazaniot, because this is the Sabbath of song, and it's both. It's very exciting. Many congregations do like a mega musical event on this weekend. The problem is that the Torah reading is so ridiculously long, and the Haftarah is even ridiculously longer that you got to pick and choose. But tonight, Cantor Gabrielle and I are hoping we always have a beautiful musical service. Actually, it's always Shabbat Shirah here at Temple Beth Tikvah, isn't it? Yes, it is, and because you have such an awesome chazan, but we're going to do a few special things tonight. We want to welcome the lovely, the talented Scott Spitzer on guitar. And welcome to all of you in our community, especially Mitch. No, I'm kidding. So Mitch and Susan, yeah, we have everybody. So, and we have Greg, and we have Mark, and Lila, and more are coming. I know it. Hello to Gabrielle's mother, and all of you here. How are we going to start tonight?
I would like to start by singing.
Oh, cool.
Shabbat Shalom.
I like it.
To everyone, if that's okay. For some reason I can't. Nope, I'm there. Here we go. Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Lovely. Would you like me to light candles? Will you light candles?
I can light. You want me to light candles? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It felt right that the cantor would light the candles on
On
Shabbat
Shabbat.
Shira. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
We're going to continue. We're going to start Kabbalat Shabbat on page 130 in Mishkan Tefillah.
L'chunranena l'Adonai Nariya l'tzur yishenu L'chunranena l'Adonai Nariya l'tzur yishenu Nekadma fana betoda Bizmirot nariya lo Nekadma fana betoda Bizmirot nariya lo L'chunranena l'Adonai Nariya l'tzur yishenu L'chunranena l'Adonai Nariya l'tzur yishenu Nekadma fana betoda Bizmirot nariya lo Nekadma fana betoda Bizmirot nariya lo
We are on page 134, our next psalm, Zamru. at the very top.
Zamru l'Adonai
Bechinor,
Bechinor v'kol zimra b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar hariyu lifnei HaMelech Adonai Yiram hayam omno tevel v'yoshvei v'ayrai neharot imchachav yachad harim yiraneinu lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel betzedek ve'amim b'meisharim Yiram hayam omno tevel v'yoshvei v'ayrai neharot imchachav yachad harim yiraneinu chav yachad harim yiraneinu.
Page 136, Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nelim. Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai kavod ba'oz. Havu l'Adonai kavod ba'oz. Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo. Havu l'Adonai kavod ba'oz. Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo. Ay, 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ay, 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 ya la 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 la, ay, ya la 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 la. Adonai yos le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai yos le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Page 138, Lecha Dodi.
Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, ay, b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat lekavela. Shamor v'zachor, b'dibror echad, Hishmiyanu Eham Neyuchad Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad L'Shem L'Tiferet V'Litila Ay 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 Lecha Dodi Ay 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 Likrat Kala Ay ay B'nei Shabbat B'nei Shabbat
Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chilal lecha dodi
לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה, לך דודי. לקראת כלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחפשו עניי עמי ונתתה, הרעתי לה לך דודי. לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי איי בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
We continue on page 140 with the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor begins Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי העשור ועלי נבל, עלי גיון בכינור. צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולה תבוא.
Yasher Koach, so beautiful. We are on page 144. We begin Ma'ariv with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. V'alma divara kirute v'amlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala Uvizman kari vimru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach la'alam la'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'meru amen. I invite you to rise. I'm going to lead us in traditional Baruch Hu. Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. We continue on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mariv haravim b'chochma poteach she'arim u'v'tvuna v'shneitim u'machlif ezmanim u'mesader ha'kochavim b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono u'mahavir yom u'mevi laila u'mavdil ben yom u'vein laila Adonai Tzivaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamari V'Aravim.
Amen.
Please join me in Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al Kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachveinu u'v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu v'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen.
I invite you to take a deep breath. So we're going to do a little preamble to our Shema. It's Listen Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one, or is one. Listen Israel, Adonai our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai our God is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha v'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Emet. Were you going to do the song?
Yep.
Okay. So here's where we have a special thing. It's a surprise from Cantor Gabby for all of us. Not saying a word about it. Buckle up.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing we now to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Moshe Miriam
ונאמר כי ודד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen.
160.
ושמות צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים אמן. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ את הארץ
ביום השביעי ביום השביעי שב ביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. Please rise. 164. We enter our Amidah.
Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth We are on the bottom of page 180. Yihul ratonim refi, v'higyon libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimramav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Amen. Okay. So we have a guest appearance by Rabbi Miriam Van Ralt, who is going to read the list of people for whom we are saying a Misha Beirach today in this community this week. Oh, here, let me give it. It says here.
We think of Alan Boyarsky, Andrea Goldberg, Anita Muchnikoff, Barbara Bevins, Barbara Rothbart, Dale Scully, David Trachtman, Edward Schechter, Elaine Solomon, Evelyn Ma, Florence Nagler. My screen is not cooperating. Jerry Feldman, Henry Cohen, Janet Capps, Janet White, Jerry Harmon, Karen Guth, Marilyn Gwozdorf, Peter Gwozdorf, Marlene Pfaff, Michael Hennig.
Holy cow.
I know. You hold
I'll
this.
hold this.
Mike Kokos, Mindy Gladstein, Rabbi Emmanuel Ben David, Rose Kaufman, Sheldon Weisbuck, Shirley Zeidman, Zach Pesner.
And I'm thinking of Nikki Gurek and Arlene Tilchin and Asher Tilchin. Are there other people that you want to include in our prayer tonight? Thank you. Thank you. Scotty, anyone you want to include? Val?
Val O'Regan.
Val O'Regan. Oh, thank you. And Dave Goodman. And if are there other names to include, Miles?
Sandy Upperman, Megan Firestone, Marla Kazin, Mark Silverstein, Marlene Pfaff, Janice Withrow, Christine Rice, Gail Rowland, Christopher Lolis and Luis Gonzalez, Jan Pfaff and Robert Pfaff, Marlene Importico, Rosemary Conant, and Jerry Hopkins.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that you shared that, everybody. And Please join me in this Misha Berach.
Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Refuah Shlema. Well, here we are. Let's Devar Torah time, and I'm so excited because I'm about to talk about my favorite thing ever to talk about, which is the Shira melody that is invoked on 5 occasions during the year. Actually, when I think about it, really 9, and you'll understand why in a second. But there is a special melodic riff that's invited into tomorrow's Torah reading when we hit Exodus 15, actually at the end of Exodus 14 into Exodus 15. And of course, in the history of our cantorial tradition, you know, in sort of the height of the golden age, when every musical note had meaning and would change with the holiday and would change with the Shabbos. And there were a couple of different traditions about how Shirat Hayam was rendered. One of the most interesting things is that even the Jews left behind, like in Yemen, right, after the exile, and we all ended up in Europe, and they were stuck in the Middle East, even they had a special way of rendering Shirat Hayam. And that tells you, if you are an archaeologist or sociologist, that the fact that there was a special melody for that goes way back. I mean, yes, there was traffic, you're right, but not in this way. I mean, it was really, both had distinctive traditions about how to treat Shirat Hayam. And I'm going to teach you how to do it tonight. I don't think you're reading it tomorrow, so we'll read it tonight, which will be very exciting. But the funny thing was, in my very first cantorial job, I worked in Upper Nyack, New York, with a wonderful rabbi named Jeffrey Hoffman, whose passion was liturgy. He and I couldn't have been a better team. Most people could care less about liturgy. That's all I think about. And he was a stickler for trope and a stickler for nusach, which I liked. And and of course, he didn't call it the Shira melody. He called it traveling trope. I'm like, I never heard traveling trope. He goes, yeah, that's how I learned it at Camp Vermont, whatever, it's the traveling trope. And the reason it's the traveling trope is that here are the times where it's used. First of all, what are we doing we're totally traveling. We're crossing the Sea of Reeds. Okay, that's number one. And the other times that we do it is in Numbers 33, in the part of the reading that's called Journeys, Ma'aseh. It's one of the last part. It's actually the last parsha in the book of Numbers. In Ma'aseh, when it gives the whole triptych of they went here and then they went here and then they went here and then they went here, and many of the verses are so short and clipped that there are about 20 verses in Numbers 33 where we invoke the traveling trope. Also, in part, by the way, to break up the monotony, because it's kind of like that. It would have been crazy if you just did it in trope. So first of all, Exodus 15, Numbers 33. Interestingly enough, another time that we do it is in Numbers 10 when they're talking about who took over for who in the tribal leadership. It's, and I wrote many papers on this. Like, why would we invoke the traveling trope or the Shira melody when we're talking about the next generation? But then I was like, it's because we're traveling through time. We're talking about the next generation. So in Numbers 10, again, we only do that for about 6 verses in Numbers 10. Okay, and of course, because in my old synagogue we read the triennial, I only got to do it once every 3 years. It was a big deal. So it's Exodus 15, Numbers 10, Numbers 33. When else do we invoke the traveling trope or Shira melody? At the end of every parsha, when we go, Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek, and Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed. I mean, so every time you go from one book of Torah to the other, what are you doing? You're traveling. And of course, so that's the 4th time, and the last time, the 5th time that we invoke traveling trope is the very last line of the Haggadah. Why? Lishana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim. Next year, may we have the zechut to travel up to Jerusalem. So here's the traveling trope. The traveling trope is in 2 parts. It's antiphonal. Yai dai 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 dai. And the answer is yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 ya da 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 da. So tomorrow when I read Exodus 15 at Temple Beth Emet, I will do that, and the congregation will respond with the lines, and I'm going to show you what that is. I'm sure you've done it here, but in case, I just wanted to share it with you. Okay, thank you. You help. So, and then the question is, why these verses? So we'll look at this briefly. So it's opening from right to left, of course. So we'll just you'll see where I marked it off in the Hebrew, but we'll read it in the English. So it begins at the very end of. There's also a practice in liturgical tradition that you sort of signal what's coming by starting to invite it in earlier. So at the very end of chapter 14, right, the Lord said to Moses, "Hold out your arm over the sea, and the waters may come back on the Egyptians and over the chariots and horsemen." So he held his arm over the sea, and at daybreak the sea returned to normal state. Okay, keep going. I'm on verse 29 on page 405. But the Israelites had marched through the sea on dry ground, the waters forming a wall for them on their right and on their left. Miminam umi smolam. Don't play. Okay, and then thus the Lord delivered Israel that day from the Egyptians. This is the narrative of the story. We're going to read it again in poetry. Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the shore of the sea. And when Israel saw the wondrous power which the Lord had wielded against the Egyptians, they feared the Lord, and they had faith in the Lord and his servant Moses. Vayaminu b'Adonai u'v'Moshe avdo. So turn the page. I'm going to just show you a little bit. If you can read Hebrew, I'd love to do a few of these with you, and then let's look at them in English briefly. What? Okay, so do you know how to read Hebrew? Okay, so it begins like this. Az yashir Moshe uvenei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai vayomru lemor. And then I would sing Ashira ladonai ki ga'oga, and you would say, and then I would say, Oh ziva zimradia vayahi li lishua, and then you would say, Ze'eli v'yanvehu Elohei avivi aramamenhu, and then I would say, Adonai ish milchama, and you would say, Adonai shemo. And then the other times we do it are at Yamincha Adonai nedari b'koach, Yamincha Adonai tirat zoyev, and then of course the biggie. Look at the bottom of 408. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Mika mocha nedar b'kodesh, and you respond, No ra tehilo do sefele. And then there's some more narrative, and then Ad Yavoram Chadonai Ad Yavoram Zukanita, and finally we end with just number 2. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. And so often when I say that line in Aleinu at the end of Aleinu, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, I actually do it in the Shira melody. Okay, let's look at the lines just in English briefly. Friends, I hope you were able to follow along in Exodus 15 in your Chumashim on Zoom. But I had a theory, although I was actually a little bit wrong, but I tried to fit my theory, which is that any time it was the children of Israel speaking in the first person, that's when we went into the Shira melody. So it's kind of right, it's kind of wrong. So first we begin with the narrator. I'm on page 407. Then Moses and the Israelites sang the song to the Lord. They said, and now it's in the first person, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. And then everyone goes, horse and driver, he has hurled into the sea. And then I would go, the Lord is my strength and my might. He is become my deliverance. And everyone would say, this is my God, and I will enshrine him. And then, the God of my father, and I will exalt him also. And then the reader would go, the Lord, the warrior, Lord is his name. And then look at this. It gets into be like the narrator again. What happened? Pharaoh's chariots and his army he cast into the sea, and he picked off the officers are drowning, and the pick of the officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. I don't mean to read it. This is actually a very tragic thing. I agree. The deep covered them, but again, it's a guy telling the story. They went down into the depths like a stone. But then the children of Israel speak up again, and they go, your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shatters the foe. And then this is where I get kind of wrong, because they're still sort of talking to God, but we don't do it in the Shira melody. In your great triumph, you break your opponents. You send forth your fury. It consumes them like straw. At the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The flood stood straight like a wall. The deeps froze in the heart of the sea. The foe said, I will pursue him. I will overtake. I will divide the spoil. My desire shall have its fill of them. I will bear my sword. My hand shall subdue them. You made your wind blow. The sea covered them. They sank like lead in the majestic waters. And then again, they're talking. They're talking to God. They go, who is like you, O Lord, among the celestials? Who is like you, majestic in holiness? And everyone goes, awesome in splendor, working wonders. And then the narrator again. You put out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. In your love, you led the people you redeemed. In your strength, you guided them by your holy abode. The people here, they tremble. Agony grips the dwellers in Philistia. Now are the clans of Edom dismayed. The tribes of Moab, trembling grips them. All the dwellers in Canaan are aghast. Terror and dread descend upon them. Through the might of your arm, they are still as stone. And then this is weird, because this is actually the narrator still, but he goes, till your people cross over, oh Lord, till your people cross over. But it's about crossing over. Traveling. Maybe that's why. Oh, Gabrielle, you're absolutely right. You have ransomed. And then the narrator goes, you will bring them and plant them in your own mountain, which is, of course, like Sinai. And you place them, and the place you made to dwell in, O Lord, the sanctuary, O Lord, I guess they mean Mount Moriah, which your hands established. And then it's finally like, when we have the ultimate Messiah traveling, will go, the Lord will reign forever and ever. When the Messiah comes, when there's peace on earth, which is probably a long time from now anyway. And then flip it over, because the last thing I'm just going to say is that actually I read this fascinating article that there are many, many biblical war songs that are referred to in our Tanakh, all written by women. There was a whole sort of school. I mean, there were women poetry writers in ancient Israel. Most of their traditions were wiped away, but there is a whole theory that actually Shirat Hayam was written by Miriam. When it says Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out with her to dance with the timbrels, and Miriam chanted for them. Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. And then you'd all say, horse and driver, he has hurled into the sea. And then the theory is that this was first, and that's why it says, go back to page 407, Then, after she did that, then Moses and the Israelites sang a song to the Lord. One of the big questions that that scholars wonder is, why does it say Oz? There's no Oz. Oz for what? Then. And so, but they think that the Miriam tradition was sort of shoved under the carpet. Anyway, I will collect these. Thank you for listening. Want to wish you all an incredible Shabbat Shira Shalom, and thank you for indulging me in my very favorite topic of all time. We continue with Aleinu, so we need somebody to open our ark. And at the end of Aleinu, I'm going to do the Shira melody just for fun.
Okay.
I know. I'm threatening you, Shapiro. I'm going to do it.
I'm the other person in this room who is obsessed with this. So I say, go queen. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו כחמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
588. שהוא נוטה שם. אם ביוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. Join me at the top of 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom and peace. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Miriam, do you have access to the yard sites for today? Well, anybody here observing a yard site this week? Any have a yard? Oh, how beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Are anybody on Zoom remembering someone, a loved one tonight?
Joan Friedman, first year of mourning. First year of mourning for Jonathan Kazin and Randy Sostock. And a yard site for Max Gutnier.
Thank you so much. Please join me as we honor the memories of our loved ones together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Tehi zichram baruch, may their memories be a blessing. It is time to make Kiddush on page 122. Kiddush. You know, while we're getting the Kiddush passed out, Announcements?
let's do announcements. So, thank you. There you go, dear. No fighting.
We're quite civilized.
So a couple things. First of all, I want to tell you that tomorrow morning you will see flyers for the fact that a week from tomorrow, your cantor is giving a teaching online at 6:30 p.m.
Oh my gosh, is that a week from tomorrow?
Yeah, it
Oh man, I
is.
guess I better get on it.
And will you tell people about it?
Okay.
Did I sent you the flyer that you could send to people?
I will send it.
Send it to your mother and she'll
I-
send it to people.
Of course, yes. We have the web, the tree, right? The Jewish tree.
So
the
so
other one we're
so it's
done.
called the Yiddishkeit of
The
Say
Yiddishkeit
Anything.
of Say Anything.
And it's actually kind of a fascinating topic,
And it's about the band, not the movie from 1989 with John Cusack.
which was a great movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the band did name themselves after the movie. And they are actually a contemporary rock band, specifically of the emo genre. And they are all very Jewish. And they charted on the alt charts in the early 2000s with songs that completely outwardly and honestly and openly talked about Judaism, and even more specifically, their personal Judaism and their experiences, which is extremely fascinating. And I looked into their discography and found that it is even deeper and so much more, and I think it is very important for us to know that.
So so during COVID, the Collaborative held this program called Havdalah Together. Every Saturday we had a great speaker. Everybody was stuck at home. Anybody could zoom in. We'd make Havdalah, and then you'd hear like some wild person from I don't know where. And of course, that stopped over time. There was, people started going out again. But we're trying to bring back Havdalah Together once a month with somebody very special who people might not know otherwise. And I wanted to introduce everybody to Cantor Gabrielle Newman. So there you go. You're our first person. We're very excited about that.
I'm very
And
excited.
so that's one
and
thing.
it's also my thesis topic,
Right.
which was approved. This topic was approved for my thesis. So
Which means she will graduate. and then also we just want you to know that it is time to get your tickets for Imagine. I heard some rehearsal tonight. There will be some guest appearances by some of your favorite people at Temple Beth Tikvah. And I promise. Did you know that you're in the show? You are so good.
surprise.
And then you can buy a raffle ticket if you want, and you can support this wonderful program and win something special, and which is a Disneyland related gift. And I want to tell you something else. Stand over here. Stand up. Scott Spitzer is a presidential scholar. Did everybody know that? He teaches the presidency at Cal State Fullerton. And so on President's Day weekend, on Shabbos, while we're having our nice little lunch, that's in 2 weeks from now, he's going to talk about how the presidency is changing. Is the presidency changing, honey?
No, you said I'm going to talk about how I teach about the presidency has had to change.
How he
That
teaches
one.
about the presidency, how it's had to change because things are different. And we thought that would be interesting. It's not political, not right, not left, not middle. It's just more like how differences. Well, don't make it too. It can't be too political.
It's about politics, but it's not leaning any which way.
It's about learning. Anyway, so you're welcome to come because he's very interesting, and yes, we're having the president's favorite food for lunch. Like, what did this president like? And cherry pie. And then also, I wanted to just say one other cool thing, which is so the week after that is Hilltop Players, and we have some great speakers. Purim is coming. It's going to be beautiful, March 8th, Wednesday. We want everybody here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what other announcements am I missing? Anything Sisterhood Men's Club related? Oh, yes. Teresa and Owen are speaking Wednesday on Chinese and Jewish online on Zoom, and everybody's going to know about it. We'll be okay. So lots of wonderful things happening in this community. Do not miss them. Here we go. I invite you to rise for Kiddush on 122.
Vayir vayivoker yom hashishi. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו וחטא ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
I think that's a pretty easy problem to solve. Did you have?
Well, let us finish our service and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka,
Can you hear Ratzon?
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Can you hear Ratzon?
Adonai oz li'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Wish you everybody a peaceful, beautiful Shabbos, and let's go have an oneg.
And thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Maya.
And thank you, Rabbi Marsha.
And thank you.
No. Oh, gosh. We can. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for Hamotzi and the social